We'll begin with our prayer led by Commissioner Schaefer, and I will lead us in the pledge.
Let us pray. Our gracious, kind, and heavenly Father, we're thankful for the beauties of this summer's day. We're thankful for the gift of life and health and strength that you afford to each of us. We're thankful that we live in a country that can call upon you, asking for your presence and guidance, and so we do so this evening. We also want to take a special moment and give thanks for the staff that help make things run smoothly in St. Joseph County, and we ask all these things in your blessed name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer, for that prayer. I feel like I should have go a lot of time for over it. I always make use of that. Let's go to roll call.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Conklin.
Here.
Commissioner Malone.
Here.
Commissioner Rosado.
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Present.
Commissioner Ilker. Present. Chairman Hawkins.
Here. Very good. Thank you. Item number 4, adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Malone. Any further discussion? All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. All right. On to 5, consent agenda.
Move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Malone and second by Commissioner Schaefer. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Opposed, the same? All right, motion carries. Very good, thank you. All right, now I'd like to open the meeting up to our public comment time. This is a very important time for our agenda. It gives us all the opportunity to hear from all of you. I would ask that during your comments, you address the Board of Commissioners and any staff or audience members. In order to be respectful of everyone's time in the room, we ask that you keep your comments to under 4 minutes. Teresa will keep track of the time, and when you hear the alarm go off, please wrap up your comments. If you would like to give us more information, you can email county commissioners or the county administrator. When you come up to speak, please tell us your name and address for the record. With that, I will open it up to public comment.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Deborah Davis, your elected prosecutor of Fair Grove, Colon Township. This is Angelique Canfield. She is our newest assistant prosecuting attorney. I wanted to make sure that you guys had the opportunity to meet her, see her face, and we don't get overtime, so I did say once we're done with this part, she can scoot out of here, but just wanted to introduce her to kind of the community. She's from Kalamazoo County, so she's down here working with us, and she's got a lot of experience, and it has been wonderful so far. Just jumping right in with the cases. So if you ever have any questions, you can come stop by our office and talk to us directly, or everything else is going good. So thank you. Can I say anything?
Sure. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I have been practicing for 28 years this November. A great majority of that, over 15 years, was as a prosecutor. I also did about 14 years in private practice, 9 of which were as a defense attorney. So rest assured, I can really help the office with their docket management. I know what I'm doing, and I already started. Last week on Monday was my first day, and I was in court by Wednesday. So we're getting there, and things will be accomplished, and we'll get that office running extremely smoothly. Not that it isn't already, but I think with getting better staffing, we can get the caseload more manageable and actually give justice to the citizens as they need. So thank you, and I'm happy at any time to answer any questions about my experience or to come and talk with the board again if you have any specifics you'd like to address.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to the county. We look forward to it. Very good. Anyone else that would like to address the commission?
Paige Willis, 104 East Township, White Pigeon, Michigan. At last month's meeting, I discussed about how 20 out of 22 boards and committees do not have their meeting minutes online. Has that been getting looked into? Because that seems to be an ongoing issue with that not being done. And I did just bring up to Commissioner Schaefer that the Planning Commission still has not given their annual report, and I brought that up back in April as well. There has also been another ongoing issue with the clerk's office and the fact that if anybody walks in there, the moment they leave, whatever they come to the clerk's office for gets reported back to their township or village, which I do not think is right, because I came in there for paperwork, and before I even left, it already got back to my village president. So something needs to be talked with them about that, because that is not okay. And that is it.
Thanks, Paige.
Good evening, Commissioners. Gordon Edelsizer, Florence Township. Man, it's been a quick month. Just thought I'd come back and ask the same question that I asked last week, or last month. How are we coming on the lawsuit? Commissioner Malone said that there was an ongoing case, so evidently he must know a little bit about it. I just didn't know if we settled it this month. Or is it still ongoing? We'll know when we can talk. Okay, well, I'll be back to ask again next month. You guys have a great night.
Yep, thank you.
Private Civilian Andrew Brand, General Post Office, Centerville, Michigan. Had a talk with the undersheriff about a week ago with Sheila Kropa for about 55 minutes regards Yoders in Colin Township, and they had a public birthing center, and they changed that to a private ministry agreement, which is a private contract, which Article 1, Section 10, the state cannot impair the obligation of the contract. It's a ministry. We have the free exercise of religion. And the site has changed. They have a non-domestic post office mail stop. Non-domestic means without the United States, without the state of Michigan, under the Republic, Michigan Republic. So there's a little thing called jurisdiction. And they're private now, under private contract. And when they have women that have babies that they work with, they fill out a worksheet and they send it to the clerk's office. The clerk's office, who authorized a certificate of co-partnership eliminating that commercial enterprise, I think around February 6th, where they started a different certificate of co-partnership, which was under a non-domestic without the United States, under the laws of the United States of America. Jurisdiction, jurisdiction, jurisdiction. The state and county have it or they don't. And they filled those worksheets out with the new information, and the county clerk, Gina Everson, and whoever else is in the county clerk's office, who took an oath to uphold the Michigan Constitution and the U.S. Constitution and has a bond, said that, told the state that all those were from the previous name of the commercial business that ended, which is not true. And then the attorney for Colin Township, Lance Thornton, colluded with that, took it to circuit court with Judge Stutzman, who could bite nails in two, and showed up 10 minutes late to the meeting, and closed the case, I think, on Monday, maybe last week. And now the undersheriff has been out to the Yoders twice, trespassing, trying to get them to do a bond, trying to get jurisdiction over them. Well, there's a little thing called affidavit of special appearance. And when you do a special appearance, you're acting in honor and your paperwork is presented. Their paperwork was presented. They acted in honor. The judge can't respond because the judge doesn't have jurisdiction. So what's going on is the sheriff is choosing to collude, conspire against rights. Gina Everson's St. Joe County Clerk's office is colluding with Lance Thornton. Conspiracy against rights, collusion. That people that have a private ministry somehow can't have a private ministry. Well, guess what, folks? There's the public and the private. The private and the public and the private. Jurisdiction, jurisdiction, jurisdiction. So if you think that the people of St. Joe County are going to sit by while you think you're going to get away with collusion, it's not going to happen. Conspiracy against rights, it's not going to happen. This is going to get taken care of. I yield.
Thank you. Anyone else? I need to address the commission.
Good afternoon, guys. Sheila Crowbot here in private. I live in White Pigeon. I also am a White Pigeon trustee, so I also work in the government. There's the private and then the working in government. So I understand jurisdiction. That's a lot of education I'm still learning. I usually write something out. I haven't today. I did bullet points. I've been attending meetings here and throughout the county in different townships for about a year and a half, all praying, for wisdom and discernment and making proper decisions and so on and so forth for all of us. But sometimes I'm really wondering if it's just about the government and not the people, because we've been having lots of meetings here and the room gets filled up at times and folks talk about, what we're going to vote on, and they ask not to vote a certain way, and then everybody, not everybody, I take that back, it's not umbrella, the vote passes, and it's against what several people have said not to vote that way. Sometimes we have, the room filled, and a lot of people came in with a bunch of inaccurate information being put out there, specifically park situation, and there was a remnant of us that spoke the opposite of the main group that was here. And some of the room clapped for what was said by those remnant people. I don't think they had a clue. I think it went over their head what was being said. I am discouraged. I'm the type of woman that when I see something going on, I try my best to do what's right and confront, or, and some people don't like that word, that can be negative, but let's say dialogue or whatnot, to try to understand and work things out for the benefit of our county as a whole. So anyway, another thing that really I thought about was with the voting machines. I mean, we had a well-renowned scientist, Dr. Frank, come here, and he spoke with the previous county clerk, and that was disregarded. He showed data information. It seems like data and information can be shared, and it just gets disregarded if it's not what the majority wants or government wants. And so there was a meeting for that, and we were given all sorts of information, but we're only left 5 minutes to speak or ask questions. That went awry. So I guess I'm just up here saying, being in the government and also being a private citizen, it's very interesting. I am a woman of God. I do at times have a mouth like a trucker, though. I'm working on that. I really don't like that, but my husband would be surprised to hear me say that. But anyway, I just know that right now there's a lot going on, whether it be locally, United States, county, but I do want the best for all of us, and I wonder where all of our hearts are. And I know I have to check my heart daily, and I would like everyone else to check their heart daily. I could care less about making a lot of money. I could care less about living in a big house. I just want what's right for our children and the generation coming up, and I'm really concerned for that. Yeah, I'm concerned for the Mama's House. One of my stepdaughters had her child there, and that was a wonderful experience. And I wonder if there's somebody behind the scenes that feels threatened by Mama's House ministry and wants them shut down for their own benefit. I don't know, a lot of rumors. I did try to talk with some folks that might have had that information, but I got hung up on it. Yeah, we don't know how to communicate nowadays is what I'm finding, and if we do, it gets harder and harder. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the conversation? We appreciate all your comments and the feedback that we get from the public, so thank you for that. Okay, I'll close public comments. Let's move on to number 7 on our agenda, presentations. FY 2024 J-Range and Company Audit Presentation presented by Matt Allen. Matt, welcome.
I'll be back. I prepared a quick PowerPoint. I find it easier to follow along with than telling you flip through 30 pages, 50, 100 pages of an audit report. So just some of the highlights. Feel free to interrupt if you have questions throughout or at the end. I also have space for that. So the first thing we always like to talk about is the county receiving unmodified opinions, which you expect to receive every year, meaning you receive the highest level assurance. We don't have any concerns over the reporting of any numbers, anything being unsubstantiated effectively. Besides that, we know internal control deficiencies that we noted. No deficit fund balances that require corrective action, which is great. No love letters from the state. No major budget deficiencies. Actually, even the one, I think there was one, it was relatively minor, so that means you're paying attention to and amending the budget or sending the budget to begin with. And lastly, there was one new GASB statement we had to adopt this year, that the county did, for compensated absences, just basically kind of creating a more conservative approach to the estimation layer. Didn't have a major change though for the county. A couple of quick highlights across all governmental funds, so excluding the delinquent tax funds and inmate concessions. There was a total fund balance of roughly $18 million, which is roughly an 8%.
Would you mind speaking up some?
Yep.
All right, try to adjust the speaker there.
That's no problem.
I'm so close I can't hear you.
One benefit of being tall, I guess, is being away from the mic.
I believe I have this up as high as you can go. Podium, right? Dustin, have you podium on the mics?
Yes. Is it on?
Yeah, podium.
Yeah, that's the whole.
So there we go. Sorry. Now we start going over.
There we go, Matt. Sorry. Go ahead.
So the across all governmental funds, the county ended with a total fund balance across all those funds of $18 million, roughly an $800,000 increase. And then the general fund funds really only including budget stabilization, besides the normal general fund that you guys talk about, your main operating fund. That ended with a fund balance of roughly $12 million, which was roughly a $1.4 million increase, of which about $10 million of that is unassigned, meaning you guys kind of use that as you guys see fit, obviously. Part of that's a reserve amount. So it's roughly 40% of your utilized expenditures transfers out. The GFOA recommends kind of a minimum of roughly 25%. As at the low end, sometimes we see that obviously increase if you have capital projects upcoming, which I do believe the county has a courthouse project upcoming, and some of the projects that are still in process. For counties, we kind of see that travel all over the place, roughly from kind of the low end 15%. They do have one county that's over 100% just because they overreacted to having very low fund balance 5-10 years ago. So this is a table showing that general fund balance and how it's changed over the last 5 years. The most recent fiscal year being the left and the 2020 on the right. You can see it's kind of just that slow increase, so a healthy increase. Building closer reserves, obviously, with ongoing projects that can get spent down relatively quickly. As we all know with inflation, the last few years have been kind of fun with that. You can also see that with the expenditures having gone up, and obviously that's also influenced by the ARPA dollars being spent as well. Probably a little hard to read. This is a comparative statement in that position. You can find on page roughly 9 or 10 of the audit report. You want to get a little bit bigger. Biggest change there was the cash and investments decreasing by roughly $3 million. Kind of corresponds to that unearned revenue down to liabilities decreasing by the same amount. That being those ARPA dollars that you had spent. So you've seen this both go down. It's no major change in the net position there. And the comparative statement of activities. This is the revenues and expenditures. Overall, most of the changes were relatively minor. We have the operating grants, contributions, capital grants, contributions kind of have been in flux just with all the great opportunities. Mostly it's getting ARPA dollars being spent, depending on how they were spent, it's how they get categorized. The other big change is the property taxes. Did a quick comparative of the tax base for the county. It does look like over the last 2 cycles, from 2022, 23 to 23, 24, the taxes that affect the 2 big underground that I've shown here. There's been roughly 7 to 8% increase in the property tax base, so either tax growth or just the values is where that's where it comes from for the most part. The state does, excuse me. The state does also include, if you receive any minimum $1 to the charge of services that the tax, the state charges that goes to the state and they give it back to everyone. That's also included in there, so that's probably a little small part of that increase. Overall expenditures stay roughly the same year over year, $31 million, $32 million, that's relatively healthy. And then, just like this. Another big thing we always like to bring to your attention to is the pension liability. As you can see, it's kind of started in 2020 at that 90% funded level. It dipped down to roughly 80% as of 2024. The biggest reason for this is you look at the 4th line down, 5th line down, you can see the change in assumptions. Are you looking at the PowerPoint or are you looking at the audit? In the audit, it's going to be page, I'm guessing it's going to be like 75. I'll walk over there and look with you.
What is it, Rusty?
65.
So that's on page 65 for reference. That'll have the additional 5 years that I include here just for visual reference. So once again, that changes in assumptions. Anytime MERS has a positive return, so we can see in 2021, there was roughly $6.5 million in net investment income, which exceeded their expectation by roughly $2 million. They will make a much more conservative estimate on the pension liability, saying like, hey, next year, for future years, we don't expect to receive 8% anymore. We're going to say 7.75 or 7.5%. So anytime they have a really good year, it pretty much just knocks you back down. So they're trying to build in some conservatism there. Kind of comes from the great financial crisis of 2007. A good example of that was City of Grand Rapids was over 100% funded, stopped contributing, and then back to 50%, 3 years later. So I think that's kind of where MERS built that in, just to kind of build in some resiliency there, meaning that TPL might be, in the end, high, depending if everything's actual, so it's all, a numbers game that can turn out way different. But still 80% is way above the state warning threshold, so still well within a state warning, I would say there. And then the last slide, we always like to point out is when you have a single audit, meaning you spend over $750,000 in federal revenues or expenditures, goes up to $1 million starting next year. We have to do some extra compliance testing this year. There's two major programs, both the ARPA dollars and the child support cluster. Both had no findings that we had to report when we did all the additional compliance testing. So that's always great to point out too that you guys have those controls in place for those programs, so making sure we're following the process required by those rates. So everything I had to draw your attention to directly, but if there's any questions, we're willing to answer now or later if questions do arise later.
Thank you, Matt. Do we have any questions?
I got a question. In regards to the pension, you say we're 80% funded. What is the norm? What did I miss that? Are we within acceptable accounting, acceptable principles?
Yeah. So the state has a warning threshold, is what I'll call it. If you fall below 60% funded, and then your annual contribution by the employer, so that top line, the second part of that table, goes about 12% of your governmental revenue. So roughly what that would be for you guys, roughly 20 million times 12%. So $2.4 million. We would have to go below 60% funded, and then that contribution would have to be about $2.4 million. If you hit that amount, the state's going to start pressuring. They're going to send a corrective action request saying, hey, how are you guys going to become funded back within an acceptable level? But obviously you have 20% to fall there, which Lord will never happen, but always you can't predict this out there. But I wouldn't expect that to happen. Obviously it does. We'll be doing some other fallout in the world. So I would say within most counties, that's roughly where I've seen it. Within 10% either way. Some counties do, Allegan, Muskegon, there's some others, have done pension obligation bonds where they issue a bond. Allegan did it 10 years ago for $18 million, made themselves fully funded, but now they have to pay off that bond. In their case, they made out well because the market over those last 10 years has been pretty well, but that's the risk of that, especially for you guys at 80%. I don't think that's something you need to think about. Because once again, same thing. The example of Grand Rapids is you're 100% funded, and then you get 2 bad years in the market. Also, you're paying more interest in maybe the stock market gain. So
That's essentially mortgaging your house, putting it in the stock market, and just hoping the market
Yeah.
outperforms the interest rate after mortgage, which obviously we do not.
you got 80% previous and 90% funded. I would say that's not something that would, in my mind.
Did you know what were they at when they did that? Well, they might be 60%.
Yeah, that was right kind of when this whole accounting pronouncement came out. I can't remember off the top of my head. I would say they financed $18 million, which is considerably bigger, but I would say they were probably below 60% at the time. That's when most entities are doing, is to get that number above there. Not in hindsight, that worked out for them, but you have that risk of the reverse happening. I can later when I get back, I can send Angie. The state actually accumulates all this information. We can compare yourself to other counties, so I can send that spreadsheet to Angie to send you guys.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to see where we're at. Commissioner Gonzalez, any other questions?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Matt? Okay, very good. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you guys all for your time. Have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Successful.
All right, very good. Moving on to the MSU Extension Outreach presentation. Nicole Rich. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now we'll go ahead.
Thanks. So good to see you all again. Good to be back. For those of you, actually, hopefully everyone has a handout. It should be in your packet. Looks like this. I'll just be using this to kind of guide what I talk about, so I stay relatively short here. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Ritchie. I work for Michigan State University Extension. I'll be talking about what that means and kind of what I do. My official title is Field Crops Agronomy Educator, and what does that actually mean? It's kind of a long title, but field crops refers to corn, soybeans, wheat, potatoes, and alfalfa, and those kinds of crops. And then agronomy is a term that we use to describe any decision-making for crop production. And then, of course, educator, you all know what that means. I try to educate or teach in whatever setting that may take. So there's my contact information. If you ever need to contact me, that's my cell phone number. Feel free to send a text, send pictures of weeds that you don't recognize, that kind of thing. Insects, I'm here for it. That's what I love to do. So I grew up in Three Rivers, not too far from here, and graduated from there. Had a great time being in marching band and playing soccer, and I loved it. And directly after high school, I went to Argentina, and I was a service volunteer there for a year and a half. And I love the culture, I love the people, and I learned Spanish, which comes really in handy when you're working in agriculture. And then after that, I went to study at Utah State University. I studied plant science. Again, had a great time, but I decided I was ready to come back to Michigan, so I came back. I worked for a potato farm, a local farm here, for about 3 years, and then I started with Michigan State University Extension last year in 2024. So, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, what is MSU Extension and what do I do? And the truth is, I wasn't even sure last year when I started, and now I have an answer, and I've got a great answer for you all, but I can understand that there's probably a little bit of, I don't want to say mystery, but yeah, maybe a little bit of mystery of just what is this entity. So MSU Extension, first I'll speak generally and then I'll speak about exactly what I do. So first of all, a little bit of history. Back in the mid-1800s, the government said, you know what, we're falling behind other countries in military, engineering, and agriculture, and we don't like that. So they decided to award land to universities called land-grant universities, and that land was used specifically for research in those 3 topics. And then a couple years later, the government realized, like, hey, we're doing some great research, but how is it making its way to everyday people? And it really isn't. And that's how Extension was born. So part of being a land-grant university, which Michigan State is that we have to have an outreach program to get the research that is happening in Lansing or even throughout the states to everyday people. So, put very simply, Extension is non-biased outreach, support, and education. And then the non-biased outreach, support, and education that I do specifically is for field crops producers, or those corn, soybeans, wheat, etc. producers. So I work with them, and I work with pretty much anyone in ag. And a question I get a lot from people like you who maybe are some decision makers at higher levels is, what kind of challenges are our farmers facing? So definitely financial. Costs have gone up while the prices that you receive for your product have gone down, and that's been a trend for the last several years. Weather challenges, pests, there's always something out trying to get your crop. And then regulations. In a commodity like agriculture, where you're working with maybe pesticides or equipment, there are some high risks there. And so there also has to be higher regulation to make sure that things are done properly. But that also means that there's a lot of paperwork and hoops to jump through, and if you're just a one-man operation, that can be a lot to keep track of. That's something that I can help with. Stress. I mean, everyone is under stress, right? But farmers as well. And water rights. In St. Joseph County, we have this really unique opportunity to grow what we grow thanks to the acres we have under irrigation. And in recent years, there have been some questions about what is going to happen with access to water. And that would greatly change the agricultural landscape of St. Joseph County. So, MSU Extension has people, if not me, other people, to address all of these problems, all these challenges that farmers are facing. And we do this in a few ways. So I've got here programs/events, individual consultation, and educational materials. Those are just 3 broad categories. This is in no way inclusive. I'm not saying that I only do the things on this list, but this is just kind of a highlight. So I'll just touch on a couple briefly. Programs/events, I put on lots of programs and events for education to try and get word out about different things. And Here are just a couple of events that I did this past year. And then in bold, the Seed Trio Workshop is coming up in August. We're very excited about that. It's just an opportunity to provide education on applying pesticides to seeds, which we do to try and prevent or try and make sure that the plants germinate successfully. As far as individual consultation goes, you can do pretty much anything. This is like a face-to-face, a farm visit, text me a picture of a pest or whatever is going on. But I really want to highlight that we do on-farm research. So I talked about these researchers in Lansing, and what good does that do you if it's not making its way here, right? So on-farm research is local research, and anytime you have research that's going to make your time commitment a lot higher, right? So I try and help reduce the burden on growers so that they can still trial things. Maybe I'll apply for money so that they don't have to pay for a product they want to try out. But that way they can try new things and hopefully with fewer extra commitments on their part. And then educational materials, I write articles, fact sheets, all sorts of things about all sorts of things. And then I also do a regional newsletter. So you all may have received it. I'm not 100% sure if it's been going to you recently, but if you're interested, there's a little link that you can sign up. And these are just agricultural newsletters, highlight a couple events, highlight what's happening in the crop world, and things like that. And then I also do a newsletter in Spanish. We call that MSU Extension Noticias, and we've got about 12 people right now. We just started a couple months ago. We're hoping to grow that a lot. There are a lot of agricultural workers who primarily speak Spanish, and this is an opportunity to get safety information to them, information on events, and things like that. So here in green, I guess bolded as a banner, is my ultimate goal is to provide practical support and education for field crop producers. I have experience on a farm, I've worked on a farm, and I understand that, in theory you can have a really great plan, but if it's not something you can implement when it's really hot out and sweat is dripping in your eyes, it might not be a practical solution for your farm. So I'm here to try and help troubleshoot and come up with practical solutions that still help us all reach our goals. And then finally, an ask from you all is to help me spread the word that I'm here, I'm available. And, if you farm, let me visit your farm, see some of your fields, maybe place an insect trap there, maybe host an on-farm research trial, interact with me in some way. And finally, most importantly, I'm always looking for feedback. Please share feedback on challenges you're facing, on things that you've heard. Obviously, if I don't know about something, it's really hard for me to address it, right? And I want to address it. So, one of the other things that we do a lot is we send out a lot of surveys, which can be a little bit tiring, but there's a really important one coming up for any of you who might farm, and that is a land access survey. So this is looking at obstacles to getting into farming, if that's something you've been interested in, but you weren't able to, say, inherit a farm. And what kind of obstacles are there for you being able to farm? So, you all can talk to me later or contact me for that link if you would be interested in taking it. But yeah, that is just a really quick review of what I do, and now I'd like to open it up. What questions do you have?
Well, thank you for the presentation, Nicole. Does anybody have any questions for Nicole or MSU Extension? Yeah, there's a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nice presentation. Appreciate you being here tonight. Did I understand there is a farm tour this summer?
A farm tour as in?
In past years, there's often been a farm tour that's been hosted by different agriculture businesses where they highlight several different farms in the area. It's kind of like a self-guided tour on each. Are you aware of that? Or?
I'm not. I'm aware of a couple things in the works, but I haven't heard anything formal. What MSU Extension does is something called Breakfast on the Farm. That'll be in Van Buren County this year. But that's a breakfast. I'm not involved in organizing the farm tour, but I might hear of it. And if so, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fairly organized event. It was an evening like late afternoon, evening, and they highlighted different types of agribusiness in our county. It was really informative. Whether, so I guess I would encourage you to look into that again, see if that's something that MSU would be willing to take up again, sponsor that activity.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Schaefer's idea of self-guided farm tours is what we call counseling guided. I don't know if we do that anymore, but we appreciate you being here, Nicole. We appreciate your insights and the resources that you provided at MSU Extension. So thank you so much.
And then one last thing on this back page, this is just contact information for a lot of people. And if you are a home gardener and you are wanting access to MSU Extension, that has the home gardening and lawn hotline. So in case you ever come across questions, now you know where you can go.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. All right, moving on to C for our presentation. 2024 Commission on Aging Annual Report presented by Ms. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, since we're moving so quickly through the agenda, I'm going to take some extra time and go over all 20 services that the COA provides. Just kidding.
I think the microphone's going to
I'll stick to my agenda report. 2024 was another fantastic year. It was my, it would have been my third year. Finished up my third year. I'm in my fourth year now. And we just have such a blast at the Commission on Aging, in-house with both of our centers, and then all of the services we're providing throughout the community for in-home services as well as home-delivered meals. So in my report, I'm going to highlight our 3 most prominent services that we provide. And if you do want more information regarding the additional services that we provide, our monthly newsletter is a fantastic resource for that. You can also visit our centers, or you can also give us a call and learn more about everything that we do at the Commission on Aging. But to jump in for nutrition services, as you can see in the report, we have served over more than 200,000 meals in 2024, serving in our centers at Pines Resort and home-delivered meals over 1,000 seniors on a consistent daily basis. About 1,700 seniors participated in our restaurant ticket program. So if you're not familiar with that program, we have contracts with local non-chain restaurants where seniors can purchase for a donation a restaurant ticket up to 3 per month, and then they can frequent these, the list, I think we've got about 10 or 12 restaurants throughout the county, and they can have a nutritious meal and also receive the socialization that's so important as we age. So that is a very popular program. We've had all sorts of fantastic celebrations in our nutrition department throughout the year. We had themed desserts. We have fun food items such as chocolate chip cookies and ice cream during Women's History Month, and learned that women actually invented the ice cream maker and chocolate chip cookies. We had kerosene pickles for Ron Howard's birthday and a cookout for Older Americans Month, as well as many other things, like dinner night out and our summer picnic and our holiday party. Each of those, the summer picnic and the holiday party, we have 150 older adults that join each of those events, so it is widely popular and sells out in about 30 minutes or less. So it is a very minimal cost to come. I think the summer picnic is $5, and the holiday party, because it's a little bit bigger of a spread, is $10 per person, so very reasonable. We also received an award last year from, we received the Community Agency of Year Award from the St. Joseph County Intermediate School District's Parent Advisory Committee for our work with the Young Adult Transition Center. So we have young adult students through that program that come in throughout the school year multiple times throughout the week, and they help serve in the kitchen, and they put together particular bags for home delivered meals. They help make meals, and then they also learn a variety of different commercial kitchen skills to help with their job skills to obtain employment as they continue throughout their education. We also have worked with Immaculate Conception School and Girls on the Run from Andrews University. They have volunteered and have made cards and also put together little goodie bags throughout the year for our home delivered meals clients, our Meals on Wheels clients, which has been fantastic. We have had American Axle come in and volunteer, and they help wash our Meals on Wheels trucks. And it's nice to see community partners throughout the county want to come in. Meyer Store in Three Rivers is also an organization that has done some volunteer work in the last year. Moving on to residential services, this encompasses our apartments as well as in-home services. In-home services includes light housekeeping, respite care, and personal care, so showering and bathing assistance. We did see a slight decrease in the hours we were able to provide, which was over 8,700 hours in 2024, and that decrease is strictly due to 4 of our in-home aides retiring in 2024, and we have not been able to replace them. We advertise regularly for in-home aides, and we actually in 25 has dropped 1 more, so we are down to 7. So if you know of anybody looking for a part-time job, we have a lot of seniors who are in need of some assistance, and we are currently at a wait list of 90 waiting for these services in our county. We have also provided chore services, which are a little bit heavier duty chores, such as yard work, installing grab bars, and small handyman tasks, and we're able to utilize 32 hours of work for our seniors in the county. Our apartments remain full. We had a total of 10 turnovers throughout 2024, and we're able to fill those very quickly. We can turn over those apartments within a matter of a couple of days, maybe 3 at the most, and we have a very extensive wait list, and currently we are sitting at 69 on the wait list for our apartments. The apartments, it's been fun to watch. We still have several of our original from 6 years ago. It's nice to see them out and about every single day, having coffee with each other. They have potlucks in the evening for holidays and birthdays. They have lots of card games, and we also see our members coming in and socializing with the residents and having a lot of groups. They have a Bible study, I believe, on Monday night, and it's just been a really lovely environment to watch them continue their lives and enjoy. Moving on to life enrichment, this is the fun department of our COA. They get to develop a lot of programming for life enrichment and all of the fun events that happen, and they have done an absolute fantastic job. As I mentioned, Women's History Month, National Pretzel Day, Older Americans Month, our trips, if you've heard about our trip program, it is a budget neutral program, which means we take the cost of that trip. We also factor in the wear and tear of the bus, as well as fuel and everything, and then that is the cost that goes to the member who wants to purchase the ticket for that trip. So we are not spending any taxpayer money on the trip program. That is completely funded by themselves, and we take into account all of the expenses per trip. Our trips have increased. We did 44 trips last year. It's pretty much doubled since 23. We went to places like Henderson Castle in Kalamazoo, University of Notre Dame in South Bend, and Meadowbrook Hall in Rochester Hills. And of course, we went to the Detroit Tigers, and we took 2 buses for that. Occasionally, Thurston Woods Village has been a fantastic partner and allows us to borrow their bus, and so that we could take a couple dozen seniors to that trip. We also just did it in June and took 2 buses, and they won that game. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful day. We do really focus on caregivers at the Commission on Aging, and last year we did a dinner and presentation with a very talented author and professional speaker named Rita Miller. We had 180 people, and we hosted this at the Three Rivers High School and in their auditorium and in their cafeteria. And it was called Mrs. Kelly's Journey Home. And it was an absolutely heartwarming performance about dealing with your parent with Alzheimer's and dementia and how to care for somebody going through that. We offered over 30,000 hours of activities at our centers in Sturgis and Three Rivers, and that also includes Clowns Resort. More than 1,300 individuals visited our centers, resulting in over 52,000 sign-ins for exercise class, bingo, crafts, educational presentations, and more. We offered more than 2,000 hours of exercise class in both centers, and we are seeing a very significant increase in usage of our fitness rooms in Three Rivers and Sturgis. And the equipment is being used, and a big thanks to Terry for a recent donation of a treadmill, or maybe your brother, recently, and it has been, I think we got it last week, and it's already being utilized on a daily basis. So the nice thing about the fitness room in Three Rivers is that it is open to the residents 24/7. So it's nice that they can use it anytime. During the week, during our regular business hours, we have many, many members from the community that are utilizing that fitness center in both locations as well. On the last page, you can see our budget. Just to highlight a couple of things under miscellaneous revenue/donations. That includes revenue from our special events, our restaurant ticket program, the trips, and donations. We receive several private donations throughout the year. And then under the expenses, under support services, that includes our PERS units. So we have a contracted amount for like life alert buttons, are basically what that is. Our friendly reassurance program, and our caregiver program, that is caregiver education, training, and support. So, do you have any questions?
Thank you for that report. Do you have any questions for Celia? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pam. We appreciate it. Very good. Moving on. Number 8, County Administrator's Report. Ms. Teresa.
Hey there, good evening everyone. Just a few updates for you. Attorney Andrew Reggae joined us for our recent staff leadership meeting where we reviewed the revised social media policy. We're now moving into implementation phase of that policy, working with departments to ensure a consistent rollout. We continue to see new hires across departments, which is great to see. We've got a lot of new faces continuing to filter into the county. Our management team are doing a solid job of getting new staff onboarded and acclimated. So, and we've seen some new smiles around here. We recently hosted a Medicare information session for employees, which was well attended and provided helpful guidance and options and enrollment timelines for Medicare. Representatives from Morgan Stanley will be here tomorrow, July 16th, for one-on-one employee sessions. They handle our 457 and compensation retirement plan. And MERS will be on site August 20th to offer both group and individual meetings. The court's several courts formation project is still moving forward with many meetings discussing logistics and design, and so we'll hear more about that in the coming month. We're also working with JPR still, the engineers, regarding the upcoming RFP for the inorganic discharge project at the jail. The RFP is nearly finalized, and we're just currently researching options for housing necessary equipment. So more to come on that. I'd like to all know too that we will have our MERS representative here for the August probably executive meeting, where he will go over the 2024 actuarial. So you'll have another opportunity to ask more questions of MERS, and he does a great job through his report explaining how all those numbers come together. So more to happen on that. I just wanted to give a special thanks to Pam. She said she's been here 3 years, going on 4. And as you can tell from her presentation, she's got an excellent handle on what she does. She's smart, conscientious, professional. She's in it with a service mind, and what she provides at the COA, and all of her staff kind of follow suit. So very grateful for her and all the things that the COA does for our citizens here at the county. Also shout
temperatures have been up, but people are still busy. We have a new bike trail opened over at Home Lake there in Sturgis. People are loving that as much as they are over at Mayor Broadway. So they're flocking, and some of them are hitting both every time the same day. Going one, getting lunch, and going over, which is exactly what we're going for. So again, it was of great benefit considering that we have that trail dozer that was mostly donated money to utilize that. So not only could expand the existing one over at Meyer Broadway, maintain it, and build this one, we'll be able to continue to do that, and in time look at other places to potentially go.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Any other reports? Commissioner Shea?
Commission on Aging, and hey, a nice job tonight. It's hard to summarize the year's activities when there's so much always going on at both centers. But I'm privileged to serve on that board along with Commissioner Conklin. And I think one of the things about that board, if you ever have an opportunity to come visit, is to see the excitement in reporting by the various directors of the programming activities. They do a phenomenal job in their departmental oversight, and our seniors in St. Joseph County are certainly blessed. And I hope more take advantage of all the fine offerings the COA.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the road commission, 4.48 miles of paving project on Miller's Mill Road started today. And in total, St. Joseph County Road Commission is going to be doing 25.25 miles of brand new road construction for this season. In addition to that, the chairman of the road commission, Gary Schaefer, will be here on August 19th to do a presentation on the MUA. He's got some fantastic news coming down the pipe that I don't want to spoil for him.
Okay. We'll be waiting with bated breath on that.
Yeah, that's a very good news.
Good. Okay, good. All right, very good. Moving on. Unfinished business. We have no unfinished business. Moving on to new business. Fish Department Natural Resource Grant Declaration and Notice presented by welcome, Aaron.
Thank you. As I mentioned during the executive committee meeting, the Parks and Recreation Department received Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund grant for Boston's King Mill to do a pavilion conversion and a new bathroom construction. And that project is complete. And I can't say enough about the value of in-kind work that the Parks Department did on this, just because it brought so much more than just what the grant could bring. But once this declaration and notice is submitted to the state, they will give us $50,000 in reimbursement. So that's what I asked today.
We like bring on. Thank
That's
you.
what I was thinking.
With that, do I have a motion?
So moved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Malone. Second. Second by Commissioner Baker. Further discussion? Seeing none? All in favor with an eye? Aye. Opposed the same? Motion carries. Very good. Moving on. B, Commission on Aging Advisory Board amended bylaws presented by Pam.
So when there were 5 commissioners, only one commissioner was appointed to the COA advisory board. Now that there are 7 commissioners, we have 2 commissioners appointed, and our bylaws currently state that 6-member terms will expire every year. Well, that is not the case anymore with 2 commissioners on board, because their terms don't expire unless they're not reelected. So I'm requesting that we amend the bylaws to say that 5 terms will be expiring each year versus 6.
Very good.
So moved as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Malone and second by Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion? See none. All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed the same? Motion carries. Thank you for that, Pam. Okay, moving on to C. Environmental testing proposal presented by Jessica.
Yes, before you is a proposal from Fishbeck to conduct vapor intrusion testing at the county jail and Hamilton
not to exceed $65 million.
Okay, we have a motion for CAC Consulting up to $6,500 by Commissioner Yonker. Do we have support?
Support.
We have a second by Commissioner Baker. Discussion.
So yes, I last night spent a very long time on the internet researching water contamination, specifically PCEs. They find the path of least resistance. They get to the level of the groundwater, and the density of the PCE is actually more dense than water, so it will sink to the bottom. It's my understanding with all the hours I did on the research, if it is not in the groundwater, it will not be in the vapor. So that's why I decided to make this motion, go the $6,500 route instead of the $18,000 level. My fellow commissioners, if you guys did your research, you would have something to have to say about that. So again.
Very good. Any other discussion?
I'm going to go against it because I have great faith in this group that has the other proposal. They have a track record here. They're professionals on it. And if they did not feel that it was not necessary, they would not be recommending it.
Okay. Further discussion? Commissioner Baker.
I'm not discounting what he's saying, but I actually graduated with the kid that does the testing from CAC, and I trust what he does.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I do have a report from Covered Bridge Healthcare, and here at the diagrams, it will show they did the ground testing, the water testing first, and it shows the east portion of the building had more contamination than the west. So that's
Okay.
why I
All right. With that, we'll go ahead and do a roll call. So the motion on the floor is to up to $6,500 for CAC to carry out the water testing for the jail and animal control.
No. Civic. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. Mission fails, or I'm sorry, motion fails for lack of support.
I would like to make a motion that we actually accept the proposal from Fishback and establish a budget of $18,700 from fund balance as presented.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Malone. We have support.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Schaefer. Further discussion? Okay. Go ahead and do a roll call.
Commissioner Baker?
No.
Commissioner Malone?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner Yonker? Yes.
Yes. All right. Motion carries. Moving on. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Rosado. Nothing today? Nothing today. All right. Commissioner Bethel.
Just that a lot of rural areas are having, I think, covered bridge days this week in Centerville. Rural heritage days next week. I think the magic week is the following week, so we don't support the local.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Yonker. Okay. Commissioner Schaefer. Commissioner Malone.
I want to thank those that did the presentations. They're very well done. Appreciate the services that you continue to provide within our county to our residents. Thank you, staff, for all your hard work throughout the year to have us in a position to get this clean audit every year. It's very important to how we function. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, it's something I want to bring to our attention. On the County Board of Commissioners Act 156 of 1851, section 46-11, and subsection F, there's some verbiage in there that says how long we can make bonds or loans for. I think we need to look into that before we get into the bonds for the building. The way I'm reading it is we can't loan for anything more than 15
together. Clients resort could come in and I guess cause some frustration with maybe the COA, having the housing, but that is a great example of Clients Resort using the county as a partner and actually doing a great job for the citizens of St. Joseph County. So it's really good. We appreciate that. I also want to point out that, I'm sure we'll have something, but the Mendon Hornets softball, varsity softball team winning state, having a daughter who plays softball for 3 years is bittersweet. I wish 3 years would be there, but I did a great job. Won the state championship. Kudos to those guys. I know they work their butts off. It's a great program, and they do a great job. And quite possibly beat 3 years in the regular season, but we won't mention that. So appreciate everybody coming. With that, I'll accept the motion for adjournment. Commissioner Schaefer, second by Commissioner Malone. All in favor of that? Aye. Same. Motion carries.